Do you ever worry about accidentally breaking a rule and getting kicked off the cruise ship? You're not alone. Most cruisers think it'll never happen to them, but the truth is it's way easier than you'd think. So I went deep into cruise forums, Reddit threads, and viral news stories to uncover the most bizarre, outrageous, and flat-out confusing reasons people have been kicked off cruise ships. Some of them are hilarious, others are just plain wild, but all of them will help you cruise smarter without learning the hard way. Hey y'all, I'm Evan with Family at Sea, where we help make every cruise unforgettable. Most people assume you'd have to do something huge to get kicked off a cruise ship, like start a fight or light a flare gun in the buffet. But the truth is, it can be surprisingly easy, and in some cases, just plain ridiculous. So in this video, I'm diving into real-life stories of passengers who were kicked off cruise ships for reasons that range from bizarre to flat-out unbelievable. How cruise lines actually enforce the rules, and where things go from a warning to "you're done," and what every cruiser should know to avoid getting blindsided or booted for something they didn't even realize was a problem. If you're ready, I am. Let's go. This first one honestly shocked me because the family really didn't do anything wrong, but they still got kicked off mid-cruise. A family boards a transatlantic princess cruise for a Thanksgiving holiday with their infant daughter. Everything's going fine. They're a few days into the sailing, approaching the Canary Islands off the coast of Africa, and suddenly they're pulled aside by the ship's staff. And that's when they're told, your baby isn't allowed to be on this cruise and you're gonna have to get off. Wait, Evan, they didn't figure that out before the ship left? Nope. Princess reviewed the documents. The baby had a passport. Everyone was cleared to board, but several days into the sailing, someone finally noticed the baby was under 12 months old. Because this was a transatlantic itinerary, that meant the baby was technically not allowed on board. Princess blamed it on a clerical error, then kicked the entire family off the ship mid-cruise. No refund, no compensation, just, sorry we messed up, but you're off. So here's what parents need to know. For most cruises, babies must be at least 6 months old, but on sailings where there are 3 or more consecutive sea days, so transatlantics, remote, or long sailings, they must be at least 12 months old, and there are no exceptions. And yes, if the cruise line system misses it, you're still the one paying the price. The lesson here, if you're cruising with an infant, triple check the age policies before you book, and don't assume the cruise line will catch it for you. This is one of the dumbest cruise decisions I have ever heard of, and that's saying something. Back in 2019, a 27-year-old passenger on board Royal Caribbean Symphony of the Seas decided it would be hilarious to jump off his balcony. Not metaphorically, not emotionally, like literally jumped off the 11th deck into the water while the ship was docked in Nassau. Wait, Evan, he actually jumped off a cruise ship? Yep, and of course his friends filmed it and posted it online like it was some kind of achievement. Royal Caribbean banned all of them for life, not just the guy who jumped, everyone who stood around and thought, yeah, this is fine. No injuries, no charges, just a permanent ban and a place in cruise stupidity history. Let this be a reminder, cruise ships are not theme parks. If your vacation plan includes launching yourself off an 11th story balcony, maybe pick a different hobby. All right, a quick pause here before I continue because this tip might actually save you some serious money. If you're booking a cruise and not using Cruises It, you're leaving money on the table. They've got insider access to discounted rates, bonus perks, and exclusive group pricing that you won't find on your own. But here's the kicker. Their cruise fare watch system keeps monitoring your fare even after you book. If the price drops before your final payment, they automatically secure the lower rate for you. No forums, no stress, just savings. So click the link in the description below if you prefer to book on your own, or call the number on the screen and tell them Evan from Family at Sea sent you, and they'll take care of you just as they take care of me. And if this video is helping you cruise smarter or you're just having fun with it, be sure to hit like and subscribe. It ensures you'll get more content that actually helps you make the most of your cruises. Now, let's get back to it. This next one starts like a lot of cruise stories. A couple, a balcony, and absolutely zero regard for how sound carries at sea. They were sailing on a 2-week cruise in the Caribbean and decided to get a little too comfortable in their stateroom with the balcony door wide open. Let's just say they weren't exactly trying to keep things discreet. Wait, Evan, You're saying people actually heard them? Oh yeah, loud enough that complaints came in from multiple decks. Security gave them a warning, and when it happened again, they were kicked off the ship at the next port. No further chances, just a walk down the gangway with their luggage, and a story they're probably not sharing at family gatherings. Or maybe they are. The lesson here, if your vacation plans include a soundtrack, show some respect for your fellow cruisers and keep it inside the cabin, and close the door. This is one of those stories that somehow manages to be both ridiculous and also completely real. Multiple crew members have shared accounts of a passenger who was caught climbing between stateroom balconies on the outside of the ship. Like full-blown DIY stuntman, he was scaling from one balcony to the next, raiding other passengers' minibars along the way. Maybe he didn't want to pay $4 for a soda, or maybe he just wanted to live dangerously. Who knows? Security caught him mid-raid and had him removed from the ship for theft and dangerous behavior. I mean, if you're gonna get kicked off a cruise, maybe don't do it like a discount Spider-Man trying to steal peanuts 12 stories above the ocean. The lesson here, don't climb where you shouldn't and don't touch what isn't yours. Your cruise fare doesn't include breaking and entering. This one starts with a woman boarding a cruise out of Miami, and everything seems normal until a few days into the sailing when her cabin steward notices something strange. Turns out she smuggled her cat on board, didn't declare it, didn't ask permission, just packed it up like an extra sweater and hoped no one would notice. Wait, Evan, how do you even get a cat past security? No clue, seriously, like I've been trying to figure that out since I read the story. She was sailing solo, so it took a few days for anyone to catch on, but eventually the smell, the litter box, and the meowing gave it away. She was removed at the next port, and crew reportedly had to fully disinfect the cabin before it could be used again. The lesson here, cruise ships don't allow pets and they're not playing around. So if you were thinking about stuffing your cat into your carry-on, maybe call a pet sitter instead. At this point, I feel like half these stories start and end on a balcony. On this one, a woman sailing with Royal Caribbean decided her vacation needed a little extra flair, so she climbed on top of her balcony railing to pose for a photo. Someone snapped a photo of her doing it and reported it to the crew. Wait, Evan, did she fall? Is she okay? Thankfully, she's fine. She didn't fall, but she was kicked off at the next port and banned for life from cruising with Royal Caribbean. And when people started calling her out online, she doubled down and said she'd do it again. The lesson here, cruise balconies aren't Instagram props, and you're not on a photo shoot. You're on a moving ship, and no photo is worth getting banned or worse. Now, most people get kicked off a cruise quietly, but this guy, he got a standing ovation on the way out. It happened on Royal Caribbean's Allure of the Seas when a YouTuber and his crew boarded the ship and spent their cruise filming pranks, causing scenes, and generally making the trip worse for everyone around them. And it wasn't just security who had enough, it was the passengers. And when the guy finally got removed mid-cruise, the passengers cheered. Not a slow clap, a full Broadway-style send-off. He tried to spin it online like some kind of win, but let's be real. If an entire cruise ship is celebrating your departure, that's not a flex. That's a wake-up call. And a note here to my fellow creators. If your content relies on being obnoxious just to get you clicks, you're not a creator, you're just a guy who ran out of real ideas. So the lesson here, cruising is a shared space. Whether you're filming or not, you're living in a floating neighborhood and you need to respect your fellow passengers. Don't be the neighbor everyone hopes will move out early. This one's not loud or dramatic, but it still ended with someone getting kicked off the ship. A man on a Costa cruise lit up a cigarette on his balcony, something that's banned across all cruise lines because of the fire risk. Then after finishing, he tossed it into the ocean. The crew was notified, and at the very next port, he was removed from the ship. While that might sound minor to some of you, cruise lines definitely do not see it that way. And honestly, neither should we. A lit cigarette can blow back onto another balcony and spark a fire. When you're miles from shore, even a small fire can become a serious emergency. And then there's the ocean. It's not just scenery. It's home to some of the most delicate ecosystems on the planet. Tossing trash into it, even something small, is inconsiderate. So the lesson here, balcony rules exist for a reason, and so do environmental ones. If we want to enjoy the beauty of cruising, we've got to treat the ship and the sea with respect. This next one happened in the ship's pub late at night, as these things often do. Two passengers got into a heated argument over something so minor no one even remembers what started it, but what people do remember is what came next. One of them grabbed a bottle of ketchup and launched it across the room. It didn't hit the person they were arguing with, but instead it hit a crew member. Security responded fast. The passenger who threw it was removed from the ship at the next port and permanently banned. And yeah, it sounds ridiculous, but cruise ships aren't going to wait for things to escalate when someone starts throwing stuff in a bar. The lesson here, it doesn't matter what started it. When you lose your cool and start tossing condiments, your vacation is over. Respect the crew and keep the ketchup in the bottle. Not every cruise removal involves dramatic stunts or flying condiments. Sometimes all it takes is your mouth. This story comes from multiple forum accounts about a passenger who got aggressively rude with crew members. Not just one bad moment, but multiple incidents. Insults, entitlement, disrespect, and eventually the crew had had enough. The ship's leadership made the call and the guest was removed at the next port. Wait, Evan, they can really kick you off just for being rude? Absolutely. The ship's captain and staff have full authority to remove any guest who creates a hostile or unsafe environment, whether it's physical or verbal. And here's the truth. Crew members deal with thousands of passengers, work long shifts, have no days off, and have constant demands. And they still manage to stay friendly and professional. But being treated with respect isn't optional, it's expected. So the lesson here, kindness costs you nothing. And if you can't treat the crew with basic respect, you don't belong on board. And that last one may be the most avoidable of them all, because at the end of the day, getting kicked off a cruise doesn't always come down to some wild stunt. It can be as simple as forgetting that the crew deserves your respect. So here's the bad news. Even with all the right intentions, it's easier than most people think to make a mistake that cuts your cruise short. But the good news, you now know exactly where the line is and how not to cross it. And if you want to take your cruise game to the next level, don't stop here. In this next video, I'm sharing the things experienced cruisers never pack, plus a few essentials they bring instead. If you've ever overpacked, underprepared, or just want to feel more like a pro on board, that's the one to watch next. And guys, as always, thank you for watching, and until next time, may your seas be smooth and your horizons wide. Bon voyage!